This year's 30 Under 30 Europe list features 300 founders and entrepreneurs that have raised more than $1 billion for companies that are reinventing the European entrepreneurial landscape. We traveled to London to meet a number of the honorees, including Paolina and Lucile, the co-founders of clothing brand Paolina Russo. Their pieces have been worn by Megan Thee Stallion, Rihanna, and more. What makes Paolina and Lucile interesting to me is their multi-pronged approach to fashion and multiple business streams. They aren't just creating clothes, they're thinking about the future of fashion, making digital garments for platforms like Roblox and others, all while creating avant-garde physical pieces.
The way that we develop our collections is we always start in the factory. In terms of the pieces, it's really focused on how to innovate those crafts and put them into a modern context. So, for example, like these pieces are our signature. They're called illusion knitting. It has this lenticular effect where images appear and disappear as the garment moves. And that was inspired by a hand knitting technique. It was super beautiful, but we were like, how do we take this and make it more detailed? How do we industrialize it? And that's always the challenge every season, finding new crafts to partner with some sort of technology and find new ways to do it.
Our brand really revolves around 3 pillars that are extremely important for us and makes us different. Those pillars are sustainability, people, and craft. We work so closely with our manufacturers to come up with solutions to make our garments last on the long term and creating clothes that will last in someone's wardrobe and eventually be passed down. The people who help us developing ideas around us are a huge part of the creative process, the way we work. Everybody from the person who makes to the person who's wearing the clothes, everybody has an input with us and we really bring this community along. Craft can mean so many things, and I think something special about us is that we really want to elevate local craft because of where we're from, being the suburbs of Toronto in Canada for Paolina and the countryside west coast of France for me. What we grew up with was local craft. You know what your neighbors paints on their table for family dinners? That's a craft. All those crafts that makes you really feel connected on a very secret level almost, is really what we cherish and we really want to highlight.
We have 3 pricing points in our range. We have things that are more entry price points, so they'll range between £80 to £220. That's just easier things to get, it'll be our lycra or swimwear or some of our knitted accessories. And then we have a more wider middle range of things that are between $220 and $600 that are the creative knit pieces, for example, our knitted corset pieces. These are our best sellers. They're this mixture between something that looks very, a corset is very restricted, but actually it's extremely comfy. And then we have things that are more artisan, and that's between $600 to $1,000. But we really make sure that we kind of never go over £1,000. If you're a student and you love the brand or you're a fan, you could get something and still be a part of the world. We have had issues with complete copycats of the clothes. We had no idea, but we started getting emails from people who follow the brand that they saw our pieces being replicated in a store in China. And there's only so much you can do with things like that. If someone does that, you can report it, but we're not also in the position to sue someone.
And in a way, it's very flattering.
Yes.
You're oh, thank you so much. You like the work so much that you would want to do the same. We really appreciate.
Personally for us, we have so many products that we're continuing to put out there that it doesn't stifle our creativity or stifle what we're doing.
Yeah, and also in total honesty, there's some techniques that are really core to us that are really hard to replicate. A copy can exist, but the original is really you can recognize it.
Lucile and I met when we were studying at Central St. Martin's. I was studying fashion design with a specialism in knitwear, and Lucile was studying fashion design with a specialism in women's wear. After both of us graduated from Central St. Martin's, we were both looking for studios. We both knew this woman called Olia, who runs One Granary, which is a fashion magazine / support system for emerging designers and students. And she put us in contact with each other like, hey, you guys should share a studio. And that's where we properly met.
We were in the same space for like 2-3 months, really observing what she does, all the people working with her, her team. But I was working on my own things.
I was in one corner doing my thing and she was in the other corner doing her thing, and I think we always were kind of looking at each other like, I really like what she's doing, like this is really interesting.
And then one day I remember not being able to sleep and thinking like, I don't know how to really express this, but I know that we should work together.
I just had this epiphany. I woke up being like, oh, I feel like if we worked together, we could take over the world. But how do you tell someone that? So I came in that day acting really weird and I didn't know how to bring it up.
She was acting extremely weird.
Instead of doing my work, I was cleaning and stuff.
So I'm like, why is she cleaning the studio? Something is going on. I'm just gonna step right in. Hey, have you ever thought of kind of like expanding and doing this with someone? And she straight up got it. She was like, yeah, do you want to do this with me? I'm like, yeah, cool, nice.
It was just this true like synergy type of moment where we were both thinking the same thing, but we didn't realize. And so she spoke it into reality, and then I was like, yeah, let's do it. When we decided to work on the brand together, the brand had already started. I started on my own. I was like a poor student, you know, I didn't have any money to start a label. And actually, when I was in school, I had no intentions of starting a business. I didn't know what I was going to do after school. But when I was on my BA at Central St. Martin's, my final collection that I presented won the L'Oreal Prize for creative talent. And there was prize money, but also it was like huge press for the work that I was doing. Like the work went on to then be on the cover of Dazed magazine. I had this corset that I had made out of sneakers that I used to wear when I was growing up in Canada, and I had crocheted them together to create this sneaker corset, and that was worn on the cover of Dazed by Solange Knowles. So there was a lot of this like press coming in and prizes, and when I went on to study on my master's, and I did that all through scholarships from the British Fashion Council. I got contacted by Adidas and they wanted to do a collaboration between me and them. And at that point I didn't have a brand, so I was like, okay, so I guess I'm starting a brand and this brand is going to collaborate with Adidas. And from the money that I received from that collaboration, that was the initial capital to start the business. So loads of people call me Alex. My full name is Paolina Alexandra Russo. So for me, like Paolina Russo is its own entity. Like we are Paolina Russo.
I mean, I like how you can see like this one and those 2 points quite clearly.
Yeah,
like this is working.
Like warrior-y, but
yeah,
not as like napkin-y as before.
Napkin out.
Yes.
I also think like we should try to find a way to like have
Close
this.
this up?
Yeah.
Definitely. I think the color.
Then it would be really nice. Yeah, definitely. I love the way it draws those lines.
Yes.
It's very like it has such a texture. I mean, this draws nicely with the body. The graphic.
Our first ever like clients were Ssense, who are also Canadian. And then we went on to like expand our like clients of like wholesale and retailers that we were working with. We got picked up by Dover Street Market in London, and then we got contacted by a company called Sknups in London who connect fashion with gaming. And that's how we began our collaboration through Roblox, bringing Paolina Russo into Roblox.
I mean, there's many different ways that capital can come in, right? That's another like revenue stream to explore because it's a whole new community. It's people who are interested in fashion but wouldn't necessarily wear it the way that we do in the street, but they would wear it even more in like the worlds that they create online. So there's like many different ways like this that forms the capital that we have and permits us to develop and exist.
There's this alternative revenue that we wanted to explore, and it's something that we're going to continue to explore with the brand. And then from there, after that sales season, we did our first show during Copenhagen Fashion Week because we won the Zalando Visionary Award, which is an award that champions brands that really look after sustainability, community, and collaboration, as well as creativity. And from that show, we got to meet Nordstrom, and they were really, apparently, they said to us that they had been watching the brand for a while, and after that show, they decided to work with us and stock our clothes.
Paolina and Lucile were on our radar because when we took a look at their collection, it looked unique and like something really special. We were really validated in our enthusiasm for the brand after wrapping up Copenhagen Fashion Week and seeing the energy of the show and the clothes in person. The purpose of kind of this concept shop is to be a place of discovery and inspiration and inclusivity. So we very often work with young designers who are newer and emerging. And then we love being the platform for Paolina and Lou as they kind of strategically grow their business as well. They really practice what they preach. Like, they are living and breathing this positive impact fashion. And I think that really resonates with our customers. So we will continue this partnership, and we're looking forward to kind of renew the inventory season over season.
In terms of financial, we are completely independent, and that's something that's really important for us. We run our own showroom, for example, even press, we do everything in-house. It's extremely hard for us. It's like we understand and we're learning as it goes, but financially, being an emerging designer faces a lot of difficulties in the sense that like budget is really complicated to go around and we need a lot of support. But we understand that if we didn't have that system of support, it would be even harder.
We have done 2 shows now in Copenhagen Fashion Week, and the first time we did it is the first time we've ever done anything like that. There were so many people involved, you can't imagine, like at least like 100 people. And also with the clothes, there's at least 100 people behind the clothes, because it's not just us, it was our collaborators, our manufacturers, all the people who work at the factory, we all worked on this together.
Designing a collection for a lookbook and a storytelling and stores is one thing. Designing a collection with the aim of showing it down the runway for the first time is another story.
From Copenhagen, we met some people from the Federation for Paris Fashion Week.
We are going to Paris actually today because we are part of the showroom called Sphere. It's a showroom organized by la Fédération de la Haute Couture et de la Mode. It is a group showroom, so we are part of a group, 6 designers. So we're gonna have the opportunity to talk a lot about what we do to new people again.
We've had many meetings, and we are really putting out the intentions and feelers to take the brand internationally and do a show in a different country. So it's so amazing to like do the show in a place like Korea, or even go to Canada or something, like to bring the work somewhere where we also like connect with the community there. It's a dream. We have been in situations before where like our age has hindered us, but I think for the better, because we are really young and we are starting out in a business. Like with age also comes experience and knowledge and time and mistakes. So we have been in situations where they're like, oh, like, we really love you for this job or really love you for this thing, but it's 2 years too soon, or like you're a little bit too young now, but like in 2 years, yes. And actually like really appreciate that sort of feedback, because like we also believe the same. I am way smarter and way better at my job now than I was 2 years ago or 5 years ago. So I hope that in like 2 to 5 years again that like I grow and we grow as like a brand. I would say like the biggest hurdle that we faced was really in the beginning, because when the brand started, we had just come from doing this collaboration with Adidas. So there was already a perception about the brand that we were really established. We were like freshly students and starting a brand and starting a business. So yeah, really trying to like explain to people in the beginning, like, no, we're just starting. This is just the beginning. I think when you're a young entrepreneur, it takes a lot more convincing for people like to take you seriously or to think that you're serious about the work that you're doing.
There's also like the sense of like resilience, you know. I actually think we're like extremely resilient people and we work really hard, and I have seen it surprise people a lot around us. So it'd be like it's a bit of a myth, you know. We're just like, oh, that generation or like that kind of work doesn't go with those kind of like qualities in people, but I think we're proving that wrong.
In 2023, we found out that we were nominated for the LVMH Prize. In the final round, you have to present your brand in front of the creative directors of LVMH. So that's Marc Jacobs and like Nicolas Ghesquière, Kim Jones, and Bernard Arnault. So it's pretty intimidating, and you only have 5 minutes to pitch your brand.
In terms of opportunity, being an emerging brand associated to the LVMH Prize is incredibly valuable to like the industry, which really helped us developing and reaching out to even more people and expand on what we want to do on a designing level, on a press level, on all those kind of angles that you need as an emerging brand.
A lot of people who know about us now, I think they found us through the LVMH Prize. A lot of celebrities who wear the clothes, either they buy the clothes and we don't even know about it, and we just find out because someone tags us on social media wearing Paolina Russo. For example, when New Jeans, this Korean pop group, wore our clothes for their very first music video, we had no clue. We saw it actually in the music video, and they have gone on to wear more pieces. When it comes to like other celebrities, we do loans, so we'll loan pieces or we'll make custom pieces for them. We worked with Doja Cat for her Scarlet tour, and she wore a lot of the Lycra, these like iconic Lycra pieces from her Fall/Winter 23 collection.
This year, over Christmas, we received a notification that we've been tagged on a picture. We opened the picture and Rosalia is wearing one of our top. That was best Christmas present.
At the moment, we work with about 9 retailers around the world, and so their customer base is endless. But for us, like, we can only really interact with people like online or who we've met in stores before. That's the point of us starting e-coms, is that we want to have a more direct connection with our community that's outside of just social media.
We're scaling up in terms of production, which can be challenging for us because obviously we are at the beginning of what we do and all our partnerships are like building up. So as we're expanding, we also need to sort of like work around quantities, which can be really challenging for designers because manufacturers, they have minimum orders quantity. But we're very lucky because we work with them extremely closely, then we are able to come up to agreements and really work around those difficulties. What would it take for us to sell the brand? I don't even know. What we're building is so like precious, important, and so like for the long run, selling it is absolutely not the goal. Growing the team and having people come in and really like work with us is definitely a yes. Just in terms of like selling it and leaving it to others, it's a no.